So the first thing that you're going to want to do is measure your chalkboard. My chalkboard is 63 inches tall by 26 inches wide. Your chalkboard might be bigger or smaller, but whatever size it is, my advice to you is to format your SVG for the size of the project that you're working with. You can easily do this by adding in a shape in the design space that is the same size as your artboard. So if your artboard is 12 by 12, then you can click on this square here, and you can add in a square that's 12 by 12, and then you can bring your design in and place it over top of that square so that you know exactly how it's going to look once you cut it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my design in, and you're going to notice that it's going to give me an error. I've got that little triangle over there that's giving me a warning that's saying, hey, this is way too big for your maker to handle. So I'm going to show you how you can slice through this so that you can still cut it at the size that it is, because again, this is the size that I need it to be for my chalkboard. So I'm going to show you how you can slice through this so that you don't have to resize it. It's very, very simple. So first I'm going to ungroup the design, and once I have everything ungrouped, I'm going to isolate just the piece that I need to slice. So I'm going to pull that over. Once I have that over and isolated, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a square shape or rectangle shape, and I'm going to cover the left side of this design. And once it's completely covered, I'm going to make sure that it's kind of right in the middle there. And once it's completely covered, I'm going to select both the shape, the rectangle shape that I just created, and the piece of art, the arrows. Once I have both of these selected, I'm going to hit slice. And what that's going to do is it's going to slice that design. It's just going to act like a knife, and it's going to cut right through the middle where I have the center of that rectangle. So instead of one big giant piece, I'm going to have two pieces, which, as you can see, it's still not going to be small enough for the Cricut to handle it. So I'm going to have to do the same thing, the same exact thing to the top half of both of these sides. So I'm going to take another square or rectangle that is, and then I'm going to place it on the top left of the design, and I'm going to select those two pieces. I'm going to slice through that, and then I'm going to do the same exact thing to the right side. But before I do that, I want to make sure that both of the rectangles that I'm using to slice through the top of the design are not only the same exact shape, but they're also in the same exact spot. And that way I know that I am slicing it right exactly in the same spot on both sides, so that when I go back to line it up on my chalkboard, it'll line up perfectly. So I'm going to just copy and paste, and then I'm going to use the align tool to select both of those rectangles to make sure that they're aligned at the top, and then I'm going to slice through my design. So now I'm ready to cut, and I'm going to use the Stencil Vinyl setting in Design Space. I've got some Stencil Vinyl here. I get this from Expressions, I think. Expressions Vinyl. I'll put the link in the description below so you can get it if you want to. I just buy giant rolls of it. I'm just going to take my brayer, I'm going to go across it, and then I'm going to cut all my pieces, and once they're all cut, I'll show you exactly how I'm going to assemble them on my chalkboard. So one thing really quick that you should know about when you're weeding stencil vinyl for a stencil is you want to weed out what you would normally keep. So you're kind of thinking about it in reverse. You'll notice here that I'm weeding out some text. I actually cut this text out with the intention of using it on this design and ended up not using it. I didn't think it needed it once I got going. Okay, so I have all my pieces cut out, and again, this is when I thought initially that I was going to use that text at the bottom, so just ignore that. I ended up keeping it. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but I didn't use it for this project. But I did want to show you that the part that I sliced off in Design Space, you have to cut off the edge of that when it cuts, so that there's no edge, so that they all kind of meet up together in the middle. Okay, so the fun begins. So the first thing I did was I measured how far down I wanted to put my design. So that's just what I'm doing here, just measuring exactly where I want to put it. from the top and also from the side. So definitely the hardest part of this whole entire project was getting the first 2 arrows lined up. I had to actually completely start over. When I say start over, I just had to take it down. That's why I didn't really tack it down very hard the very first time that I put those 2 up there, because I was kind of worried about this. But the angles of these arrows were just really tricky, so I had to start over, but I finally eventually made it work, and then I got to coloring. So after everything is colored in, I take my finger and I go over all of the little parts so that it looks much smoother. I just like the way that it looks a little bit better than just leaving it raw chalk. So I kind of blend everything in together. It looks really, really nice. Ta-da! Here it is. I love the way it turned out, and I hope you love it too. Thanks for watching.